Alrighty, folks, if you've been on my channel for any length of time, you know that I have a personal pet peeve with all the gurus pushing how easy short-term rentals are. I believe a lot of gurus out there were hurting people. But also, I know there are some operators out there doing it the right way, and somebody I've come across multiple times, and she's been on the channel. She's helped folks, is Alicia Merriman. How you doing, Alicia?
I am doing wonderful. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing very, very well. So let's remind people who Alicia is. Where do you play? What do you do? And then we'll get into what you got going on.
Absolutely. So I am Alicia Merriman. I am a short-term rental expert, and I'm out of Huntsville, Alabama. Specifically, I've created a little notoriety in the space. People, pick at me for getting information whenever it comes to automating their portfolios. Yep. And so I really feel like that is a position that I'm able to shine in and help a lot of people because they find themselves running in circles trying to do all those repetitive tasks over and over.
Yeah, the thing I like about our conversations is they're just matter of fact. And the biggest bugaboo I had about all these short-term rental gurus is they were basically calling it easy money. No. And they were pointing at the long-term rental guys, which clearly I'm in, and basically making fun of us. They were acting like we were the same. And I'm like, you idiots. Short-term rental is not even treated the same way by the IRS.
Yes,
right? You
that's
in
right.
The hospitality business. And that's what I've always appreciated about you. You've never shied away from that. You're like, Michael, I'm in the hospitality business. And, that's where we focus and that's where we shine. And, talk about your journey, because you weren't always the automation queen. You kind of jumped into this. Yeah.
No. So whenever I first got started, I had a background in flipping. Well, I got really good at that to the point where I convinced my husband to retire. And then I got kind of tired of that active income, do it once, get paid once. And I started thinking to myself, I need to get some cash flow. Well, as I was rolling into like 2016, 2017, I made the shift. I decided to lean into midterm rentals, which is like your extended stay corporate rentals, right? They're the same. And short-term rentals, income I could earn to try to replace flipping, which totally didn't do it, but it was my income by being willing to work a little bit more, have a little bit more to manage in this space. So that's why I was led into short-term rentals. But I'll tell you, how did I get into the automation portion specifically? Well, I think AI is a hot word right now. It's highly romanticized, artificial intelligence, open AI, chat GPT. I did it before it was cool.
Yeah.
But essentially, when COVID hit in 2020, like that March, boop, I instantly, that first week, I lost $42,000. And I remember listening to the news. I'm upset that now I had to return all this money to Airbnb that, flatten the curve. I've got runway, but I don't have that many weeks of runway. How am I going to sustain this? Right.
Right. Yeah.
And so, and what happened was all my reservations canceled. I had to return all their money to them.
Sure.
So, I started selling a lot of my rentals. And as I'm selling off these properties, I went from over 20 in my portfolio down to three furnished rentals. And I decided either I'm not going to go back or I'm going to build back a lot better. And I got rid of a lot of my employees who had a really toxic mentality. They didn't want to change the systems and procedures that we had already in-house developed. Nope, I started over. And this time I built it back with the idea that systems, having actual systems, applications, and artificial intelligence were my concentrated labor. And I absolutely love my system because I have two. I have one system that I use for short-term rentals and another one that I use for midterm rentals. But these apps, they work all night. They don't call in. They don't ask for raises. They don't need me to brew coffee when they get to the office, right? They don't go on maternity leave. They don't go on vacation at a quarter of the price. So, I had a big problem in the beginning thinking, why would I pay $100 for an app? I mean, think about how many apps you have on your phone and imagine the subscription being $100. But then my mind changed about them later on. And I was like, would I pay $100 a month for a darn good employee?
Right.
Absolutely, I would. Absolutely, I
Yeah.
would. So yeah, people started watching me building back better. They started watching me really being able to grow my portfolio massively faster than how it had originally started. And people wanted to know how, why. And so that's what's led me to where I'm at now with people asking questions. And I love it. I'm happy to help them.
Yeah, one of the things that I love about your story is, I'll use my words instead of yours. You got out of the flipping game because of active income, right? It's a grind, right? It's a job, frankly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then you kind of naturally roll into short-term rentals, midterm rentals, and you kind of do this. You do the Alicia thing. You just put your arms around people, and the team gets bigger and bigger, and you realize it becomes unwieldy.
Yeah.
And then you get hit with a $42,000 loss in a 24-hour period, which can't feel good. You probably you probably have a moment of stress, and then you come out of this going, I ain't sitting down. This ain't gonna beat me. We're gonna go do this thing, and we're gonna come back better. So I just think that's an amazing story, and you're so right. $100 app turns a lot of people off,
Mm-hmm.
but you'd pay $1,000 a month easy for a great employee. So
That's right. And that's
this is
even a
pretty cool.
VA.
Yeah.
If they're in America, they're a lot more than that. So
Exactly. So why don't you just give a tease to a couple of apps that you now, kind of live and breathe? Because I don't think people really realize, again, it's a hospitality business, and
that's right.
apps can really serve as a way to do that. And I love how you just keep building that. Name a few that are really near and dear to your systems.
Absolutely. So to make sure that we hit home on this, do you make more money in short-term rentals? Absolutely. Is it more work? Absolutely. Can we try to minimize the amount of work? Absolutely. So the applications that have really changed my life, well, I have a list of 112 different apps that allowed me to vet them, that allowed me to onboard them, that allowed me to do free trials where I could vet their software.
Sure.
And of that 112 list, I've narrowed it down to about 5 or 6 main ones. Okay. And I'll tell you about the one that had the biggest impact for me. It was the revenue management software. So here I am, this whole time I've been running this business, and I thought I knew the prices. Here's why I thought I knew the prices. I was looking at Billy Bob down the road, right? I was looking at, this so-and-so who had a big old portfolio and what they were charging. I thought I knew prices, and I was going in and changing them happily every 2 weeks, every month. This is what happened whenever I got revenue management software. And it's a great example of how powerful these applications actually are. Mm-hmm. So I chose to go with pricelabs.co. That's the name of the software, pricelabs.co. And pretty much it's a data aggregator. What does that mean? It pulls information from all the sites. So Mashvisor, Rabu, airdna.co, all these metric sites for furnished rentals, not just short-term, but short and midterm. It's smashing all the data together to tell you what are the hotels charging, right? What are your neighbors charging? It pretty much is able to adjust your price automatically every 15 minutes based on supply and demand. And let me tell you how powerful that is. The moment that my neighbor gets booked, my price goes up. The moment that this local civic center, they post on one of the communal calendars that there's a new concert, my price goes up. I couldn't pay a good employee to sit there and adjust my price every 15 minutes based on the communal calendar. So it's not just pulling zip code information, it's pulling community information.
That's awesome.
And as powerful as that is, what happened to me? Whenever I kicked myself, Michael, it hurt my heart because I realized what I had done to my family, what I took away from them. But on average, let's just say I had 10 houses, right? A lot of people find themselves with 8 or 10 houses. Of those 10 houses, at an 80% occupancy rate, $24 or 24 nights a month, I was leaving about $20 to $30 a night on average across the table. So times 10 houses, I brought back into my family between $7,000 and $10,000 a month by one $18 piece of software.
Wow. That's
One
amazing.
$18 piece of software changed my family's life. And so that's just revenue management. But I put that front and center because it was the one where my jaw hit the floor. I was like, how was I so naive to think that I was capable of running all these metrics, right? It's the way that they calculate prices is just like watching the stock market. It just bounces like this and it changes your price accordingly. And when people book, they're like, oh, I didn't know it was that much. I looked 2 weeks ago and it was different. I'm like, hey, I don't pick it. I don't know, right?
Yeah, it's not on me. Yeah.
So the software that I use as a channel management is Hospitable, Hospitable. You can look it up. It was formerly Smart BNB, but the link will take you to both of them. So what does Hospitable do? Hospitable is, it'll prevent double bookings. So the moment that you're on like Airbnb, VRBO, booking.com, and someone books on this account, it'll instantly block out your other calendars, which is a wonderful thing. If not, you find yourself jumping back and forth to do this manually. Super pain in the butt. It triggers a series of automated messages. Now, for me, I have about 12 to 15 automatic messages per property. What do I mean by that? The directions, the door code, where to park when they get there, what day does the trash go out, right? Checkout instructions. I even send them a little link where they can click on it when they have departed and it instantly notifies the cleaner, right? All these different automations that help have a super smooth process. They feel like they've been communicated to. They don't feel like they're sitting there waiting on me. And then there's another beautiful little tool on like whenever it comes to communicating with these guests. ChatGPT is now integrated with most of these softwares, which means it will automatically respond on my behalf. And I've had enough conversations with it. It read all my Airbnb messages in my entire history. And because of that, it has a good idea of how I'm likely to respond. When people ask, hey, can we have an early check-in? ChatGPT normally responds by saying, hey, we actually have a contract with our cleaners where they're allotted a certain amount of time. Let me check with them before I get back with you. And so it kind of does like a let me slide by response and I'll let you know kind of thing, but they feel heard, right?
Yeah.
When someone asks about the internet, it instantly sends them the Wi-Fi username, password.
Nice.
So essentially, it does another thing. It handles your door locks. So no longer are the days where even the Wi-Fi locks that people put so much credit into, I don't log in and change the code between guests. Every time that guest arrives at the door, it changes to the last 4 digits of their phone number immediately.
Nice.
Yeah, and it did that through their reservation that they had. So as much as I can dote on Hospitable, by the way, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. I value their software a lot because it's radically changed my life. But another one that's really cool is Turnover B&B. So Turnover B&B is your cleaning and maintenance software. Essentially, no longer are the days where I screenshot my reservations, send it to the cleaner, ask if she can handle it. She says yes. I confirm the day, make sure that she's actually showed up. All that can automatically go to her. So the reservation, it instantly goes to her. She has the opportunity to make her own calendar too. So she can accept or deny. If she were to deny that reservation, that cleaning opportunity, it goes to the next cleaner in line. But someone's going to pick that up. And when they do, when they show up at the actual property, I get a text message saying, hey, this is being cared for. So I'm relieved of that, right? It's required for my cleaners that they do inventory before they can clock out. And by clock out, I mean hit the complete clean button on the app. And when they do that, my side instantly issues them payment. I'm no longer like cash apping them or Venmoing them. There are apps for everything. We have Minute software, which measures the decimals in the room. It's not considered surveillance because it's just measuring how loud is the room. So it's a good way to detect parties, right? We have a MailChimp and StayFi. They have gotten in on this, and they actually have software where when someone comes into your building and they want to use the internet, they do agree to give you their actual email and their name, and then you can redirect those people to book them in the future. A lot of people go to the same areas to book, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Financial performance software,
Yeah.
Stessa. So a lot of people in this space use a piece of software named Stessa for that. There are so many wonderful, wonderful things to use whenever it comes to setting up automations for your Airbnb.
This is why I'm so excited, because this is who you are, right? You're a teacher, you're a helper. And one of the things, you were part of an event I did 2 or 3 months ago with the legends of real estate investing, and you brought all this energy and automation. And in that session, lots of people were asking for tools and recommendations. So I know you have a particular focus for people who are in the short-term rental game, who have multiple units that are struggling, right? They haven't picked up automation. Maybe they think the right answer is more people, which obviously hurts profit.
Yeah, exactly.
You are launching or have just launched a beta program of something. Again, I'll stress the fact that you've evaluated 112 different apps. You have your favorites now, and you have a particular focus on automation, AKA more profit. And again, you're in the hospitality business. This is what I think a lot of short-term rental investors didn't know, but they're here now, right? They're pregnant. They've got it. So where can people go if they want to just get a little taste of what you got going on? Because again, I think you're going to help a lot of people. Where do we send them?
So you can actually send them directly to my website. It's my name. You can see it down here, bottom left, AliciaMerriman.com. Just Google me. You will find me. If you find a bunch of videos on YouTube, I didn't even upload those, but feel free to indulge.
Yeah, go to AliciaMerriman.com if you are in the air. Like if you have a couple of units and you're struggling, time, commitment, all of this, she's been there, done that, and she is there to help. So go check out AliciaMerriman.com. Thanks, Alicia.
The actual beta course begins around the beginning of July. So June 28th has been our official launch day. I'm talking to people. I'm getting a feel for them. I'm finding out if this is actually a need for them before now. So, or before then. So if this is something that interests you at all, please feel free to go to my website and get your form submitted sooner than later. I'm only allowing 19 people in.
There you go. I think it's really wise, because again, you're going to get a broad swath of the country. You're going to get different experience levels, and you're going to see if what you're building is helpful. And I know it will be. So Alicia, thank you very much. We will do a second interview in just a second.